surges. Political cow unveils the lies. Behind the screen, wisdom surges, lighting up hate with her eyes. In the shadows, secrets lurk. She exposes, she ignites. With every post she does the work, unmasking darkness, revealing lights. Political cow, the beacon bright, unveiling truth, banishing night. With every post she does the work, unmasking darkness, revealing lights. Oh, what? Political cow, the beacon bright, unveiling truth, banishing night. Her voice cuts through, stark and raw, shattering deception, breaking the law. Icons crumble, empires fall. She stands tall, fierce and cold. Her voice echoes a thunderous call. In the chaos, her strength unfolds. False prophets scatter, truth ascends. The world watches, mesmerized. Political cow's battle never ends. In her light, dark meets its demise. Political cow, the beacon bright, unveiling truth, banishing night. At every post she does the work, unmasking darkness, revealing lights. Political cow, the beacon bright, unveiling truth, banishing night. Her voice cuts through, stark and raw, shattering deception, breaking the law. Political cow, political cow. Political cow, political cow, the beacon bright, unveiling truth, banishing night. Her voice cuts through, stark and raw, shattering deception, breaking the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. Political cow, icons crumble, empires fall. She stands tall, fierce and cold. Her voice echoes a thunderous call. In the chaos, her strength unfolds. False prophets scatter, truth ascends. The world watches, mesmerized. Political cow's battle never ends. And in her light, dark meets its demise. False prophets scatter, truth ascends. Truth ascends. The world watches, mesmerized. Political cow's battle never ends. In her light, dark meets its demise.
What's going on, everybody? It goes without fail. I'm like having this cough for way too long now. Gotta figure something out. This tea's just not working for it. Thank you for joining this evening, this late night. I'm just astonished every single day. There seems to be so many things that are happening, being put into effect, things that are really moving. How often has it been like a do-nothing Congress? Politicians are just, there to argue. They don't really get things done. Day after day, there are executive orders being signed. There is action being taken. People are busy. People are actually doing work in this administration. It's bizarre. It's such a welcome change, and they're not just growing government, they're optimizing it. And so you hear more and more parts of government being given that offer to take a severance, 8 months of pay or so, go work somewhere else. You get 8 months of severance, help to optimize government, put that intelligence, that effort into something, that may be a little bit more productive. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I'm sure we're going to hear it in detail once they start aggregating up all the all the savings and demonstrating, like, hey, this agency can run with half the people. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Anyway, almost at 17,000. Like and subscribe, appreciate it. But I want to get started here with, where did I go? I disappeared here. There I am. Well, sort of. Okay, a little better. I want to get started though with stream notes. So if you go to politicalcalc.com, why does that look weird now? Now that looks too big. Okay, I don't know, guys. I want to start off with, we'll just kind of watch the stuff with Trump and with others. There was not a daily briefing. Earlier we looked at comments from Caroline Leavitt, but they'll start to get more and more of a routine of doing these briefings. I hope daily, because she just absolutely annihilates everybody in the newsroom. But again, it's important to actually hear what the heck Trump is saying, what is really going on behind the scenes, because everything is getting misconstrued. And it was very blatant on the evening news. I mentioned this earlier in the day. Evening News and ABC, where they talked about the Wall Street Journal reporting, keyword reporting, that these were the dumbest tariffs that that had ever been put into effect in the history of the United States. These were the dumbest tariffs, right? And it's like, why would a journalist characterize something in that way? Well, when you just look up the article they were talking about, it turns out it was an opinion piece. So it's not real journalism. It's not breaking news of any kind. Someone's just venting or ranting in this case. But ABC doesn't, excuse me. Excuse me, guys. ABC doesn't correct themselves. They offer that up as fact, as though that's what's really going on in reality here. So go figure, right? Anyway, that's why it's important to actually hear what's going on, kind of see Trump in action. In this case here, he's doing something that's, well, for the most part, would have been unthinkable not that long ago, right? Biden's best hours were from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And in this case, Trump is just rolling 24/7. Signing executive orders. He'll talk about the executive orders that he's signing. He'll allow somebody that was an architect of it to make some comments on it. And he answers questions from the press too at the same time.
We had some terrific people in today and trying to solve some of the problems that are going on in the country and outside of the country. We're doing very well with respect to other countries really behaving on taking the criminals that they sent into our country, and we're getting them out. These are some of the worst people on earth, and they're getting out and they're being accepted back in their countries, as you've heard, without exception. So a lot of people thought that was not going to happen, but it's happening very full force. Now we're getting some very, very dangerous people out of our country, which is very important. Will, perhaps we'll go through the first one, please.
Yes, sir. So earlier today, before the press came in, you signed a commission appointing Chris Wright to be your next Secretary of Energy. We have another commission prepared for your signature, sir. This is Doug Collins to be Secretary of the VA. Doug Collins of Georgia.
Two very good men. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next up, in light of numerous actions taken by a number of bodies of the United Nations which exhibit a deep anti-American bias, we have an executive order prepared for your attention that would withdraw the United States from the UN Human Rights Council, would withdraw the United States from the UNRWA, which is a refugee organization.
Big deal.
And would also review American involvement in UNESCO, which has also exhibited anti-American bias. More generally, the executive order calls for a review of American involvement and funding in the UN in light of the wild disparities in levels of funding among different countries that, as you've expressed previously, is deeply unfair to the United States.
So I've always felt that the UN has
of funding, more a refugee organization that would withdraw the United States from the UN Human Rights Council, would withdraw the United States from the UNRWA, which is a refugee organization, and would also review American involvement in UNESCO, which is all states for bias. Next up, in light of numerous actions taken by a number of bodies of the United Nations which exhibit a deep anti-American bias, we have an executive order prepared for your attention that would withdraw the United States from the UN Human Rights Council, would withdraw the United States from the UNRWA, which is a refugee organization, and would also review American involvement in UNESCO, which has also exhibited anti-American bias. More generally, the executive order calls for a review of American involvement and funding in the UN in light of the wild disparities in levels of funding among different countries that, as you've expressed previously, is deeply unfair to the United States.
So I've always felt that the UN has tremendous potential. It's not living up to that potential right now. It really isn't, hasn't for a long time. It has, there are great hopes for it, but it's not being well run, to be honest, and they're not doing the job. A lot of these conflicts that we're working on should be settled, or at least we should have some help in settling them. We never seem to get help. That should be the primary purpose of the UN, the United Nations. And again, it's got great potential, and based on the potential, we'll continue to go along with it, but they got to get their act together.
What would they need to do, sir, to get their act together?
Well, you got to be fair to countries that deserve fairness. They have some countries, as you know, that are outliers, that are very bad, and they're being almost preferred as countries to those that do their job and are doing a good job, and they have to really, they're going to end up losing, a lot of countries are going to end up losing their credibility like other organizations, and then they're going to be nothing. The potential of the United Nations, and not everybody agrees with me on this, the potential of the United Nations is fantastic if properly run. So we'll see what happens.
How much money are you willing to take away from them?
Well, we're taking away a little bit, but we're not looking to take away money. This is so important that we're really, as you know, the United Nations is largely funded by us. But, and it shouldn't be, it should be funded by everybody, but we're disproportionate, as we always seem to be. But it's something that if it ever lived up to the potential, in 10 minutes it would make up the difference. That's the kind of power it could have. Right now it doesn't have that power.
Next, sir, this is a national security presidential memorandum that seeks to impose maximum pressure on the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Many of these provisions are similar to actions that your administration took during your first administration. The basic idea here is to have every department and agency, or many departments and agencies in your government attempt to sanction and control Iranian activities, particularly relating to the Iranian nuclear program and the Iranian export of terrorism through support of various proxy groups abroad. And the intent here is to give you all of the possible tools to, I'd say, engage with the Iranian government to ensure that going forward they are less of a malign actor on the world stage.
So this is one that I'm torn about. Everybody wants me to sign it. I'll do that. It's very tough on Iran. It's what we had before. We would have never had the problem. You would have never had October 7th. We would have never had the problem had the election gone a different way, which it should have. But this one, I think, more than made up for it. I think we're doing things, and it shows that more than made up for it, much more historic. The Iran situation, hopefully, I'm going to sign it, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it very much. We will see whether or not we can arrange or work out a deal with Iran, and everybody can live together, and maybe that's possible, and maybe it's not possible. So I'm signing this, and I'm unhappy to do it, but I really have not so much choice because we have to be strong and firm, and I hope that it's not going to have to be used in any great measure at all. It'd be great if we could have a Middle East and maybe a world at total peace Right now you don't have that. When I left, you had peace all over the world, and now you have the world is blowing up. As you know, Bibi is coming in to see me later. Others are coming in to see me. We'll see what we can do. But I'm signing this, and hopefully it will be a document which won't be very important, will hardly have to be used.
So what kind of deal would you be prepared to
Well,
make?
we're going to see. I mean, we're going to see. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. With me, it's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Do you support
We don't want to be tough on Iran. We don't want to be tough on anybody, but they just can't have a nuclear weapon.
Mr. President, are you going to engage in conversations with your counterpart in Iran?
I would.
Do you want to block the sale of Iranian oil to other nations?
Well, we have the right to do that, and that's what I did before. And they had no money. They wouldn't have had the money for Hamas or Hezbollah or anybody else. It could have been solved. This thing, it just, if things went the way they should have, this would have been over long ago. But it's not over.
How
And,
close do you think Iran is to developing a nuclear weapon?
I think they're close. I think they're close. They're too close. But again, you could go back 4 years. I would have said they would have had it during this intervening period. But they're pretty close, Peter.
And why say that you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have.
That is the craziest thing I've heard. They shouldn't do it. I've left instructions. They'll be obliterated. I've never heard anything like that before in my life. I mean, talk about putting out something very strong and forceful. You heard Biden famously now, unfortunately. When something would come up, he would say, don't. And then Harris would reinforce it. She's proud of him too. He said one word, don't. It's like, really? And then you have this. So when you talk about demonstrating strength on a global stage and leading through strength, leveraging that as a point of influence to encourage the right behaviors. This is how it's done. I'm just like floored. And he's dead serious too.
Have said that, but he never did. I don't know why. Lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. So I'm signing this, and it's a very powerful document, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it.
Mr. President, if the Prime Minister today were to ask your help in striking at Iran's nuclear facilities to prevent the kind of progress towards a nuclear weapon, would you give him the green light? Would it either to do it himself or for the U.S. to participate with him?
I don't know that that's what he's going to be asking for. I have no idea that it is. You're telling me. We're going to have a pretty long meeting. We're going to be discussing a lot of things, not only that, but a lot of things. And I'll let you know if the time comes to let you know. But right now, that's not something that I can discuss.
Mr. President, when you said if they do it, they get obliterated. Just to be clear, you're talking about if Iran made an attempt on your life.
Yeah, that would be called total obliteration. And I can't imagine they do that. It should have been stated by Biden, but he didn't state it because he had no clue, as you know, as everybody
What
does.
is your vision, actually, for the relationship
Do you
with
have anything
Iran?
else?
No, that's all we have.
My vision for
What
what?
relationship with Iran, and what do you? what
I'd
do you
love to
think
have a
Israel
good
would-
relationship with everybody. They can't have a nuclear weapon. That was the only thing that was very important. They can't have a nuclear weapon. Beyond that, it would be very tough if they insist on doing that. They have some of their leadership, I can tell you right now, and maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but there are many people at the top ranks of Iran that do not want to have a nuclear weapon just for that very reason.
Mr. President, what's your reaction to China's retaliatory tariffs?
It's fine. It's fine. We're going to do very well against China and against everybody else. Right now, they've taken advantage of the Biden administration like I've never seen. The deficit with China is about $1 trillion. Think of it, $1 trillion. They're using our money to build their military. And Biden let that happen. You know, we're taking a lot of fires here. We came back. This is like a different place. The good news is we're doing very well. We're doing well with countries that nobody expected we'd do well with. We are respected again as a nation. Maybe at a level that people haven't seen for many, many decades. But when I left, we didn't have any wars. I defeated ISIS, 100% of the ISIS caliphate, and now the world seems to be ready to blow up, but we'll see if we can stop it.
Mr.
President,
President,
have you reached out to the Iranians about any kind of deal? Have you reached out to the Iranians about any kind of deal to start those
I would
discussions?
reach out. I mean, I have nothing. I say I'm one that doesn't care whether I reach out or they reach out. A lot of people say, "Let them reach out, sir." To me, it doesn't matter. It's just talk. But I want to see everybody do well. I want to see great countries, and I want to see peace in the Middle East and elsewhere. We're also working very hard with respect to Russia, Ukraine. That's a bloodbath. It's a total bloodbath. What's going on there is incredible. What's going on with the soldiers, young soldiers being killed by the thousands. I mean, literally by the thousands. And we want to see if we can get that stopped. And I think we've had some very good talks.
Any update on when you would speak to President Xi, sir? Any update on when you would speak to President Xi?
No, we'll speak to him at the appropriate time. I'm in no rush. At the appropriate
Do you
time.
think that conversation can lend itself to the type of freeze that it meant for the tariffs for Canada and
Well,
Mexico?
we'll see what happens. I mean, well, there's a short-term freeze with Mexico, as you know, and with Canada. But they've agreed to be very, very strong on the border, stronger than they ever were by far, by a factor of about 30. And in addition to that, as you can see, we've been strong because we've had numbers like you've never seen before. I mean, the border is now closed, really closed. And with that being said, we're letting good people come through, and we want good people to come into our country. But the border is closed.
In your talks with Prime Minister Netanyahu today, do you intend to press him about how many deaths there have been amongst Palestinians? Are you concerned about that death?
I talk about that too. You know, both sides mean a lot. I talk about that. I talk about the other side. I talk about everything.
What's your main message to him today during your meeting?
Well, I'm here to listen. He's here to see me, and I'm here to listen. So,
will you continue
not
to
much
press?
of a message.
Will
At
you
the right
continue-
time, I'll give him my
Mr.
message.
President, will you continue to press for this idea that Jordan and Egypt take Palestinians from Gaza?
Yeah, I would like to see Jordan. I'd like to see Egypt take some look. The Gaza thing has not worked. It's never worked. And I feel very differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land, and we get some people to put up the money to build it and make it nice and make it habitable and enjoyable and
Somewhere else.
make it a home.
They don't want to leave, though. Palestinians say they don't want to leave.
I don't know how they could want to stay. It's a demolition site. It's a pure demolition site. If we could find the right piece of land or numerous pieces of land and build them some really nice places with plenty of money in the area, that's for sure, I think that would be a lot better than going back to Gaza, which has had just decades and decades of death.
Where would those pieces of land be?
Well, they
Those
could
Arab
be in
countries
Jordan,
don't want
and they
to
could
come.
be in Egypt, and they could be in other places. You could have more than two, more than one, but you could have more than two. And you'd have people living in a place that could be very beautiful and safe and nice. Gaza's been a disaster for decades.
Would the U.S. pay for that?
I don't think
Contribute?
the
Would the United States
UN would
contribute?
pay, but I think there's plenty of people that would in the area. They have a lot of money. They certainly have a lot of money. Some of the countries over there, they'd like to see it. I know that Saudi Arabia wants to see peace. I can see that. And many of the countries there, as far as I'm concerned, they all want peace. I think, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think Iran would like to see peace too. They've had enough. Don't you think they've had enough?
But the leaders of Egypt and Jordan have said bluntly they have no interest in doing this.
Well, they may have said that, but a lot of people said things to me. They said they wouldn't take anybody back in Venezuela, and right now they're flying them right back into Venezuela. And a lot of people, and they're doing the right thing in Venezuela. The Panama Canal is an active discussion right now. They said things about that. And virtually everything that's been said has been incorrectly stated based on the result.
Doesn't that amount to forcibly displace, or wouldn't that amount to forcibly displacing those people from Gaza? If
I don't
they
think
say
so.
they
I think if they had the opportunity, they'd love it. If they had an alternative to Gaza. They have no alternative right now. I mean, they're there because they have no alternative. What do they have? It is a big pile of rubble right now. I mean, have you seen the pictures of it? Have you been there? It's terrible to live. Who can live like that? And very dangerous. There's shooting all over the place. There's bombing all over the place on both sides. Now, I would think if they had an option of moving to an area, either in a large group or various smaller groups, and take care of the close to 2 million people, I would think that they would be thrilled to do it. They have no, when you say about the Gaza Strip, they don't have an option.
To be clear, you say they'd be thrilled.
It's very dangerous.
They'd be thrilled to leave Gaza.
Oh, I think they'd love to leave Gaza if they had an option. Right now, they don't have an option. What are they going to do? They have to go back to Gaza. But what is Gaza? There's practically not a building standing, and they're very dangerous. Those buildings are shifting, and they're falling down all over the place, and there's gunfire all over. It's going to be that way for a while.
Mr. President, wouldn't it have made more sense to evacuate people while the war was ongoing rather than now when there's a ceasefire?
Which is what you're talking about.
When it was more dangerous when there were strikes overhead than now.
Well, the strikes could start tomorrow. There's not a lot left to strike.
Exactly.
It's a demolition site. The whole place is demolished. It's unsafe. It's unsanitary. It's not a place where people want to live.
Mr. President.
Nobody's got. They have no alternative but to go back. If we gave them an alternative of living in a beautiful open place with some, nice quarters there, nice housing of sorts, and we have the money in the Middle East to build that.
Do you support Israelis actually moving back and creating setup buildings?
Not necessarily, no. I just support cleaning it up and doing something with it, but it's failed for many decades. And somebody will be sitting here in 10 years or 20 years from now, and they'll be going through the same stuff, the wars. And they've had civilizations on Gaza, many civilizations on Gaza, and they're buried in the sand.
Secretary
It
Rubio.
doesn't seem to work.
Secretary.
Thank you, sir. On Elon Musk, how often are you talking to him? And have there been ideas that he's brought to you that you've said, oh no, wait a minute, this is going a little too far?
Well, many ideas, but look, he's done a great job. Look at all the fraud that he's found in this U.S. AID. It's a disaster what the people, radical left lunatics, they have things that nobody would have even believed. The whole thing with $100 million spent on you know what, with money going to all sorts of groups that shouldn't deserve to get any money, with the money. I'd like to see what the kickbacks are. How much money has been kicked back? Who would spend that kind of money to some of the things that you read about and I read about and I see every night on the news and every morning when I read the papers? Who would spend money for that? I would say this, the people that got all that money, are they kicking it back to the people that gave it from government? No, that's, to me, very, very corrupt. The real question is how much of a kickback has there been? And one of the things I want to investigate rapidly, because I've never seen anything to this extent, the train that's being built between Los Angeles and San Francisco is the worst managed project I think I've ever seen, and I've seen some of the worst. Billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars over budget. In fact, I read where you could take every single person that was going to go on the train and get the finest limousine service in the world and take them back and forth with limousines, and you'd have hundreds of billions of dollars left over. It is the worst thing, and we're going to start an investigation in that because it's not possible. I built for a living, and I build on time, on budget. It's impossible that something could cost that much. And now it's not even going to San Francisco, and it's not going to Los Angeles. They made it much shorter. So now it's at little places way away from San Francisco and way away from Los Angeles. No, we're going to start a big investigation on that because I've never seen anything like it. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. The worst overruns that there have ever been in the history of our country. And it wasn't even necessary. I would have said, you don't buy it. You take an airplane. It costs you $2. It costs you nothing. you take an airplane. But this got started, and if you have to, you drive. You can drive.
Are there other agencies?
They have hundreds of billions of dollars of cost overruns, and it's not even the same project. It's much shorter. It's way outside of San Francisco and way outside of Los Angeles. So we're going to be looking into
Who's
this.
going to investigate that? Is that DOJ is going to investigate the train?
No, I'm doing that myself. No.
Some of these Doge engineers that Elon Musk has helping him are as young as 19 years
That's
old.
good. They're very smart, though, Peter. They're like you. They're very smart people.
Thank you. Have you met any of these guys?
No, I haven't seen them. They work actually out of the White House. They're smart people. Unlike what they do in the control towers, where we need smart people, we should use some of them in the control towers where we were putting people that were actually intellectually deficient. That was one of the qualifications, is you could be intellectually deficient. No, we need smart people. Some are young and some are not young. Some are not young at all. But they found great things. Look at the list of things. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I'll read off a list of 15 or 20 things that they found inside of the USAID. It has to be corrupt. Nobody could approve that. They could only approve that if they were getting kickbacks. And you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars.
And it sounds like you're going to wind down USAID.
It sounds like it. I mean, I think so. Yeah.
So when that happens, which part of the government?
Well, I could see Marco Rubio being in charge, State Department, because they're giving money to. I mean, some of the money is well spent, I guess, but much of it is really fraudulent.
And on the education department, why nominate Linda McMahon to be the education department secretary if you're going to get rid of the education department?
Because I told Linda, I hope you do a great job and put yourself out of a job. I want her to put herself out of a job. Education department. So we're ranked number 40 out of 40 schools, right? We're ranked number 1 in cost per pupil. So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world, and we're ranked at the bottom of the list. We're ranked very badly. And what I want to do is let the states run schools. I believe strongly in school choice, but in addition to that, I want the states to run schools, and I want Linda to put herself out of a job.
Do you think that's something you can do with an executive order? Or you
I'd like to be able to do it.
Yeah,
I would like to be able to do it. Look, if I could give the schools back to Iowa and Idaho and Indiana and all these places that run properly, there's many of them. I think so. If you look at the list, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, believe it or not, China's doing very well on that list. A list of well-educated, where they run their school system well. You have a lot of countries, not surprising names. I think that if you moved our schools into some of these states that are really well-run states, they would be as good as Denmark and Norway and Sweden and some of the other states. And then you'd have the laggards, and you know who they are. I don't have to go to it, but you'd have the laggards, the same laggards that are laggards with everything else, including crime. But even them, you'll break it into systems. As an example, if you went to New York, you go to Westchester County, you go to Dutchess County, you go to Suffolk and Long Island and Nassau and Long Island. You have maybe 6 or 7 locations. And you have New York City, which would include the 5 boroughs. And I think even that would run much better than it does right now. Same thing with Los Angeles or California. You'd have Riverside. You'd break it up into 6 or 7, but most of them would be states, and you'd have one. Like in Iowa, you give it to the state of Iowa. You give it to the state of Indiana. You give it. These are really well-run states. They don't have debt. They don't have problems. They don't have any crimes, relatively speaking, to speak of. And you would have education that would be the equivalent of Norway and Denmark and various other places that are at the top of the list. So we're at the bottom of the list, and we're the most expensive. We're at the top of the list when it comes to cost per pupil. We spend more money per pupil than any other nation in the world, and yet we're rated number 40. The last ratings came out, you saw them. So they talk about 40 countries. We're rated number 40. And I say that if we did this, we would go 20, 30 notches up. We could do great. And we would have some of the best districts in the world.
But are you looking to do that with an executive order, sir, or do you need to work with Congress?
Well, there are some people that say I could. I think I'd work with Congress. I think we'd have to work with the teachers union, because the teachers union is the only one that's opposed to it. Nobody else would want to hold them back. Look, we have to tell the teachers union, we're rated last in the world in education of the top 40. We're rated last. We were 38. Now we're 40. We went to 39. We went to 40. We're at 37. But we're at 40 now. The thing just came out. That's under Biden. Remember that?
Secretary Rubio announced a deal this week that would allow potentially American citizens who are criminals to be put in a different country. Is that something you're looking to do?
No, I didn't.
This will be a good answer to this one in a second, but somebody's looking for President Elon in the chat. Broken vibes, I believe. So where's President Elon, he says. Of course, very clearly he's not president. And the funny thing to me is, in the last 2 days, this has been the #1 talking point that every social media influencer and mainstream media outlet has been pushing, calling for, President Elon. Has he overstepped? Has he broken the law? It's all been focused in on this President Elon concept. So it's interesting when I see some of those things kind of ratchet up, because, practically speaking, that's absolutely not even possible. I'm utterly nice use of the word utter. We are on a bovine adventure here. What else we got here?
Know that he announced that yet, but if he did, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody. Broken vibes. I don't know. It's okay. You can share thoughts. Hey, Broken Vibes. You want to call in? Call in.
You see him pushing
Click
people
on the
into
guest link that
subways.
we got.
The train is coming.
Pin
Last
chat.
week, guy walking around, just sees somebody waiting for the train. Train's coming 40 miles an hour, and he gets pushed into the subway. And that happens all the time. These are sick people. If we could get them out of our country, we have other countries that would take them. It's no different than a prison system, except it would be a lot less expensive, and it would be a great deterrent. Send them to other countries. If we could go a step further, in other words, we're talking about getting the criminals out of our country that come in through other countries illegally, right? The illegal migrants, as I call them. Well, we have people that are just as bad as them in our country. If we could get them out, I'd be very happy.
El Salvador said that he would wanted you to pay a fee for that. Would you pay that?
Well, it's a very small fee compared to what we pay to private prisons.
But under what authority?
And a very, very small fee. I don't know. We'll have to find that out legally. I'm just saying, if we had the legal right to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat. I don't know if we do or not. We're looking at that right now. But we could make deals where we'd get these animals out of our country. And if you take the shooters, the people that hit old ladies in the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, they walk down the street.
Yeah, sounds like the folks that Trumper's describing. We might have a couple of those in the chat here. Nobody special. I hope that one day you do become somebody special. I'm sorry you're not doing too well and you're having a bad day there. I don't know. I just catch that kind of vibe from you. But I generally hope your circumstances change and that you kind of get on the increase there. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better getting all that out in the chat here. And maybe it'll feel better if you get it out in the a voice call. Link is in the pinned chat. Also in the description.
The people that you see it, the people that take out a gun and shoot you for no reason at all. If we could get these animals out of our country and put them in a different country under the supervision of somebody that made a relatively small fee to maintain these people, because you know what? These are criminals. You call them hardened criminals. They've been in jail 40 times. There's one 42 times. And every time the person gets out, it's a he. Every time he gets out, he commits another crime within 24 hours. And it's a heinous crime. It's a rough crime. We don't want these people in our country either. We don't want them in our country. If we had the option to get them out and let them be based in some other country at a fraction of the cost, and frankly, they could keep them, because these people are never going to be any good. That person that has been arrested 42 times or 22 times or 17 times and is all in for manslaughter and everything else and only gets out because of a very weak judicial system that only goes after people like Trump. They don't go after the criminals. They don't go after people like this. and they laugh at our law. If that took
So I'm a little tired, nobody. I'm not talking as much as I normally do. The comment here, let's put it up on the screen. I hope you magically conjure some. I appreciate you censoring yourself. There are some facts. I don't know, my friend. Just some angry vibes coming from your comments. And I don't think it's this stream that's getting you. I think there's other things going on with you. Hope your circumstances get better, genuinely. But if you want to share more of your thoughts and some of your facts, feel free.
place, you would have a lot less crime automatically.
So is there exploring whether they on Guantanamo Bay is there enough space there to accommodate?
There's a lot of space to accommodate a lot of people, yeah. So we're going to use it.
Can you talk a little bit?
We have it.
about
It's
why?
already up. We have it for nothing, but we can do less expensive and even more secure. We've had other countries come to us saying we would love to do that. We would love to take your criminals and we'll maintain that. We'll be their jail. And I'm only talking for the most severe cases. Like I watched that guy on tape pushing the man into the subway last week. That man that did that is a real bad guy. Many, many arrests. And do you think you're going to convince him someday to be good and a wonderful, wonderful citizen for our country? It's never going to happen. I want to get those people out. I'd love to get them out along with the illegal migrants. The migrants are rough, but we have some bad ones too. I'd like to get them out. It would be all subject to the laws of our land, and we're looking at that to see if we can do it.
What other countries have offered to take American citizens?
Say it?
What other countries have offered to take these Americans?
Numerous, many. And Marco brought it up today. I'm glad he did, because a lot of people are thinking it. When I watch some of the crimes being committed in New York City and Chicago, look at Chicago, the volume of crime that they have and the viciousness of the crime. These people are horrible people. And if somebody thinks they're going to be wonderful citizens someday, they're wrong. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're bad. These are hard, tough criminals. In many cases, they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy. But they're very dangerous. If I could get them out of the country and be in some other country where they're glad to have them because they make a small fee compared to what we'd pay to a private prison or to, put them in one of our prisons that costs even more money, I think it would be great. I'd love to get them the hell out of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
President Trump, let's go. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Thank you.
I don't want to say, but there's a certain quarterback that seems to be a pretty good winner.
And just last one, because you mentioned it many times. What do you think about Joe Biden signing on with a talent agency?
You got to be kidding. He signed on with a talent agency?
He does. He's got some entertainment agents now.
You got to be kidding me. Did that really? So Ducey's always on to some good stuff. I got to make a note of this. Biden signed on to a talent agency? Like, are you serious? Like, what the heck is that? Hold on, where's my notes? Biden talent agency. Look that up. Biden talent agency. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Hey, 2 more. I just need 2 more. Help me out, guys. Get me to 17,000. Por favor. There's a comment in here. Prices were cheaper under Obama. So keep in mind, we had the financial crisis, 08, 09, that happened right at the start of Obama's administration. And for a few years, quantitative easing was necessary. I mean, no one else had a brighter idea at that time, so had to protect jobs as much as possible, the economy, everything. But non-stop quantitative easing for the next, I don't know. I mean, it started right at the end of Bush's term, right? And then it continued for the next 8 years. Did that really set us up for success in the long run? A lot of what we're seeing now is a consequence of that system that was created. It was broken. Trump tried to remediate it in 16 when he was elected, but a lot of things got in his way, which he's really pushing back against. 17,000. Let me take a screenshot. That is beautiful. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. So trying to fix the system, had a lot of roadblocks, had a lot of legacy Republicans in there, the old guard, Paul Ryan, for instance, Speaker of the House. They did not really want to cooperate with him at the time. because their guy was Jeb Bush. But in any event, the point is the continuation of those expansionary policies, those inflationary policies resumed under Biden, another $4 trillion being printed. And when you couple that with a system that's broken, I mean, the system's not working, right? And you want to pour more money into it, the system where asset prices will inflate if you add more money into it. And so everybody points to the stock market, but how many people are genuinely benefiting from that on a day-to-day basis? How many people are actually, seeing that benefit that so many in the Democrat Party are pointing to, right? I mean, a lot of people in here talking about prices in the grocery store. Get that out of here. Let's not talk about that feller. Let me remove that comment. Let's not go there with certain people. Hang on, guys. And remove. Yeah, let's get that out of here. Anyway, let's get back to any further comments on Biden joining this talent agency. So remarkable stuff. Signs an executive order on Iran, clamping down on a lot of actions that they've been taking, limiting their efforts. And he takes questions from the media, right? I'm going to skip the Republican senators coming together. I mean, mostly they talked about, what their priorities are, which is effectively Trump's priorities to get more of his nominees through, to come together and get that one massive bill that they want to get pushed across. The Democrats always come together very interestingly. You can see the theater happening in front of you. They're giggling, they're laughing, they're joking with one another. Then they get up on stage, they start shouting and embellishing things and really trying to play to the cameras. And then you see that clip show up on Rachel Maddow, and people are like, "Oh wow, look, something's going on." Schumer is the worst. So we'll start off with him here. Yeah, here he comes skipping into town.
Okay, good afternoon. First, I'd like to announce that all 47 Democrats will vote against Russell Vogt. We're united in our agreement that Russell Vogt is a dangerous and destructive choice to lead the Office of Management and Budget. And we saw a precursor to his leadership last week during the dangerous federal funding freeze that crippled, or nearly crippled, critical duties of the federal government and its operation. As the chief architect, chief cook, and bottle washer of Project 2025, it's Russell Vogt who is laser focused on undermining our government. He's proven it. Senate Democrats will unanimously oppose him and do everything we can to prevent him from leading OMB. And should Republicans not see the light and shoulder shrug this dangerous person into this seat, they'll have to answer to the American people. Russell Vogt wants to cast chaos across America. He's depending solely on Republicans to do it. And as I said, he's a danger to the budget. He's a danger to what people in America need. Now, on the reason we are here. So over the past few days, and Hakeem and I work together really closely and well, and I welcome him to the Senate as he welcomes me to the House, I think. Yeah, okay. Over the past few days, Democrats have warned the American people that DOJ is operating like a shadow government. Yesterday, I said that DOJ is not a real government agency. It has no authority to make spending decisions, to shut down programs, or ignore federal law. This is not debatable. This is an indisputable fact. No authority for spending decisions, to shut down
Yeah, nobody special. I agree with you. It's Schumer's just full of the same old talking points, and at this point, they need to reevaluate. They gotta take a look at themselves in the mirror and just think about what their purpose in life is here. So, absolutely right. Nobody special. Schumer really needs to do a reevaluation of himself and why is he still party, Senate minority leader at this point?
On programs or ignore federal law. Yet Elon Musk took issue with that warning. He said, in answer to a tweet that I said that did this, he said, Doge, quote, is the one shot the American people have to defeat bureaucracy and restore democracy. Now, give me a break. Nothing screams democracy like having a secret squad of company men pull off a hostile takeover of America's Social Security and tax information in the dead of night. That is not democracy, Mr. Musk. And yet it's precisely what Doge is doing. It's letting a small group of unelected people, secret, run rampant through the executive branch, accessing the private data millions of Americans need, and God knows what they're going to do with it. God knows. So there are two dangers. One, people's privacy is at stake. Second, that there's a risk that this small group could cut program after program using one excuse or another. So today, Leader Jeffries and I...
I'm going to pause it here. I saw the comments in the chat. So I'm going to move over to... so again, if you want to see my stream notes, it's on politicalcow.com. It's just links typically that I put in there. So what was this the other day? The comment that was in there, what was it? 70,000 for what? 70,000 for a comic book in South America. Yeah. So here is Caroline Levitt as she was talking through some of those absurdities as to what was being allocated where. I mean, astonishing, right? Like, I'd like a refund, please. All right, let's. And it was toward the end here.
Flights that have many of them have landed in the last week.
Caroline,
Karen.
Do you know if Mr. Musk took the same oath that you and other senior that oath has
Agenda really city how Elon through organization
here we go. She has it ready. She's got a little printout.
I know Secretary all comments, and I think the American people really appreciate that when it comes to the federal government, because it seems like all common sense has been lost in this city, and that's what you see when you look at USAID. I know Secretary Rubio made some comments about how he will be acting as the director over that agency, and here's the reason why Elon Musk and others have been taking a look, because if you look at the waste and abuse that has run through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
I have to say, she knows when she dropped the mic, and it's time to just leave it at that. That was pretty good stuff. All right, back to our favorite Democrat.
I are joining together to push legislation to prevent unlawful meddling in the Treasury Department's payment systems and protect Americans across the country. Our bill aims to do a few simple things. One, to deny access to special government employees that don't have to disclose their conflicts of interest or any other ethic agreements. Two, to deny access to anyone with conflicts of interest or lack of appropriate clearance. And three, include personal tax information into existing privacy protections. We call our legislation Stop the Steal. Whatever Doge is doing, it's not democracy.
He thought he was really cute with that one.
We know what democracy's like. It's out in the open. It's not secret. You do two sides debate, and then the elected officials make decisions. Democracy doesn't work in the shadows. Democracy doesn't skirt the rule of law. And it doesn't give special privilege to the ideas and needs of a group of ultra-wealthy people.
So he goes on and on, talking to the podium. I don't know who else he's talking to here. He's always got his glasses down at the bottom of his nose, looking down on everybody. We'll leave him there. It gets more interesting. This is all today, right? It gets more interesting. There was a impromptu, unorganized, organic protest that surfaced outside of USAID somehow. They had printed signs, all with nicely, they were handmade. They were very clean and elegantly written. A little bizarre, right? Where did all these people come from? I mean, it's that thing I tell you, like $20 and a pizza, and you'll be surprised who'll show up.
This rally is being hosted by Move, Indivisible, and the Working Families Party.
I want to thank you for joining us. But I've got some questions.
Yeah,
did Elon Musk win any while he's a problem?
Let's get to some of the interesting.
When we fight, let's move. Are we gonna
Oh, here we
let
go.
them run?
One of my personal favorites. Okay.
There we go. Let's hear it.
Maxine Waters.
Let's hear it for Jeff Merkley. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Auntie Maxine, representing Maxine Waters with California.
Hello, everybody. We have convened here in the right place, the Treasury Department. We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass. Nobody told you you could get all of our private information. Nobody told you you could be in charge of the payments of this country. We have told you you've made enough money off our government yourself. And now you want to take everybody else's payroll and make sure that they don't make the kind of money that you've made. Oh, you want to use our money to go to Mars? No, we want to use our money right here in Washington, D.C., in this country. We want to make sure that all of our federal employees are protected. We've got to make sure that you know and understand nobody elected you. You think you're the President of the United States of America.
Did she say you think you're the Pope? I gotta play this again.
You know and understand nobody elected you. You think you're the President of the United States of America, the co-president that can take over, go into our private payment system and do whatever you want to do. You got another thought coming. We're going to stop you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a crisis in this country.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause it for a second. Yeah, nobody's special. I know, my man. I'm not trying to antagonize you. Just, I don't think there's any reason that anybody should get terribly worked up about these things. I genuinely hope you're doing all right.
In a crisis in this country because Trump and Elon Musk and the billionaires have decided they're going to put us all in our place. They're going to run this country. They're going to make sure that they take over everything. Are we going to let them do that? No. Are we going to let them run this government in the way that they can make even more money? No. And so they won't stop. It is so brazen. Every day they're taking new actions. They're taking executive actions. Every day they're doing something. Do you know that Trump and the billionaire class have created more cryptocurrency? Do you know that that cryptocurrency is not a donation, it's not an investment, it's going into their pockets? Do you understand that the money makers are in charge, they think? But when the people decide that we're not going to be trumped on, that we're not going to be walked on, that we're not going to be stumped on, that we're not going to allow them to control our lives and push us out, that when they understand that, we will win.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
We've got to be prepared to be out here no matter how cold it is, no matter if it's the rain, no matter if it's snowing. We've got to be here. This is our country. This is not Elon Musk's country. This is not Trump's country. This is...
But I mean, you get the sense now. We've seen a couple of different clips, and it's been all day long, and it's been a lot of influencers. You look at X, any given platform, a lot of the influencers are kind of buying into it too, hitting that same talking point. President Musk. Musk is doing something illegal. He should not be a government employee or special employee, however it's termed. He shouldn't be accessing payment systems. Those are private data in there. Oh, he's got everyone's social security number. Like, is he going to go do identity theft on everybody here? Like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, when I start fresh with a new group or a new team or something, I mean, that's the first thing I look at is I look at the books, right? Like, that's how you know where everything's at. That gives you a blueprint of what assets you have in play, what's going on with, you know, that particular part of the organization. It's a solid starting point, and from there you just start asking some questions and you begin to unravel things pretty quickly. So again, the ivory tower speaking here, clearly she's been in her job for decades, and that's probably not a good thing to have a politician in that role for decades on end like that. Completely lose touch with what it takes to be a human being, what it's like being a human being, and having to live in society where, you know, they've got pretty cush salaries, pretty cush job, pensions, medical, all kinds of benefits that are afforded to them. And, you know, they just want to let everyone eat cake in that case.
Our country, we deserve to have decent jobs. We deserve to have the respect. We deserve to be treated in a way that all Americans should be treated. And so let me just tell you now, I have Elon Musk's major office in my district. He won't even meet with the local elected officials. He said he was going to tunnel under from his office all the way to the airport so he didn't have to be among the measly people on the ground to get to the airport. He is a low-down, dirty, no good person along with Trump that cannot be trusted, and we must not be afraid of them. Again, when the people fight, we win. When the people fight, we win. When the people say that you'd better see us because we damn sure see you. Thank you very much.
And that's also another key term that's consistently used. They always talk about fighting. Kamala's, well, of her 2 concession speech, in both of them, she spoke extensively about continuing the fight. You know, we must fight. Don't stop fighting. I will continue fighting for you. And it's just bizarre because no one stops and asks, like, well, wait a minute, why are we fighting? What is it exactly that we're fighting against, for, or anything? And when it comes down to it, they'll eventually land themselves that it's against the rich. And we need to have them pay their fair share. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Tax them more, take all their money away. It starts to become this retribution mindset. And it's like, is that really healthy? Is that what we need to have? And it goes back to the problem of the system's already broken. Success is not how much more money can you print and drop into a broken system, because you see where it gets funneled into asset values that get inflated, real estate prices getting inflated. And there's folks that can take advantage of that. Then there's other folks that you look at Los Angeles, their home prices have skyrocketed astronomically, and they couldn't get insurance to cover, you know, their homes, and they're not in a good state at this point. Then they're not of the means to, you know, a home that they maybe bought for a couple $100,000 many years ago. That's, you know, $2, $3, $4 million in value now all of a sudden, because of the inflationary policies that have been put into play and because of the system that was broken that nobody addressed for so long. These are the things that, you know, again, disconnected from reality. I mean, I believe she's from California, and it's like these things she just has no connection to reality on. It's not just her either. It's unfortunately a lot of politicians. All right, let's see who the next one up is. I don't know who this MC is exactly.
Thank you, thank you. Next up, we have Representative Stansbury. Where are you? There you are. Here we go. Let's hear it for her.
All right, let's see. She sounds like she can be a dud.
All right, good afternoon.
Oh my goodness! Holy cow! Please stop speaking, lady.
From now.
Oh, this guy. All right, so we went from that screamer to. Let me get this music down a little bit. All right, this guy. I mean, Lord have mercy. You're at a dinner event or something, and this guy pulls up next to you, and you're just looking for the exit.
You will remember this is the moment that made a difference for America, because the message here is we have to reach beyond this crowd, reach beyond this city, reach beyond Democrats to Republicans and say you are losing your country too. And to all of the federal employees who are here today.
So do they think they have a new voting base with federal employees? Like, there's so many federal employees that are going to be impacted. Maybe they'll vote for us if we go make a big fuss. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the tact is here.
Hey, if you're a federal employee, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you work. We are proud of you.
What is this?
We are proud of you. You serve America. All of the payments, bank accounts, all of that information now belongs to elect.
Yeah,
United States of America.
hear from you.
There we go. Let's back it up a little bit.
Warren! 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 Yeah, it is her. Senator Warren is in the house.
Aren't they outside?
Come on up, Senator Warren. The people want to hear from you. Let's give it up for Senator Warren.
All right. In the building behind me, Elon Musk is seizing power from the American people. We are here to fight back.
Again, fight. It's a common phrasing used by Democrats. And I'll give you a quick story on my part. I grew up in California. It was just an expectation. You're a Democrat. And some people would dabble in the Green Party in politics. I went to a Green Party meeting when I was in college, just because that was the thing to do. And I mean, these folks, Lord have mercy, I don't think anyone in the room actually was in school or had a job. And they were all, acting a little funny, tweaking a little bit. And the only thing they really wanted to discuss was when the next opportunity was going to be to protest, not any particular cause they were for or any particular issue. They just wanted to know when they could protest again. And then somebody would pipe in and say, I'll bring the food or I'll bring the drinks or whatever. And they had this supply chain they had set up as to how they would execute, the said protest. But why they were protesting, it almost didn't matter to them. It was bizarre. And so that was my one and only session. And I was like, wait a minute, something's not quite right here. Of course, let's see what else Warren has to say here.
Elon Musk spent $280 million to buy an election for Donald Trump. Now, Elon Musk is here to collect on his investment.
Yes.
He is here to seize power for himself. We are here to fight back. Musk has grabbed control of America's payment system. This is the system that makes sure that your grandpa gets his Social Security check on time. This is the system that makes sure that your mom's doctor gets paid for her Medicare exam. Elon Musk wants the power to turn that on, to turn that off, as Elon Musk decides. Elon Musk wants the power to say that your grandpa, who frankly is a cranky old guy, and sometimes disses Elon on X, doesn't get his Social Security check on time. Elon Musk wants power to say to your mom's doctor, you're not doing it the way I would, so the doctor doesn't get paid. Elon Musk wants the power to decide whether or not every road repair in America goes forward, whether or not every Head Start center in America opens, and whether or not every military base anywhere in the world operates according to Elon. Elon Musk wants everyone in America to be at the mercy of Elon Musk. We are here to fight back.
Did you hear that? Somebody's got a police siren that they hit, and somebody's repeating "fight back." What's this deal with fighting? Seriously, they don't even know what they're fighting for or against. They just have a rant that they go off of. Excuse me. And I mean, with a lot of what they're putting out there, do you really? Is it really worth the retribution that you're after? Because they're fighting back is always around, pushback on the rich, make them pay their fair share. But what happens when you do that? Well, what's next? So you punish them according to what you want to do. Do you feel better? Did it improve your life at all? Where does that money go? It's not going to go into your pocket. It's going to go into the treasury that she influences, and she gets to decide where that money goes. And perhaps it goes to some government contractors that she has insider information on. I don't know. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but it's bizarre to me, the fixation with, I don't know, Robin Hood economics, taking from the rich and giving to the government, though, in this case. It's bizarre.
Now, no one elected Elon Musk to nothing.
That's right.
Not one Democrat in America voted for Elon Musk.
Not one.
Not one Republican in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one independent in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one libertarian in America voted for Elon Musk. Damn, not one vegetarian in America voted for Elon Musk. And yet...
I'm sorry. I just thought she was so clever with that one. Look at Maxine just sitting there smiling. She's like, oh, yeah, you brought the vegetarians into it. We're going to win this one now.
Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. We are here to fight back. This is no longer business as usual. We will speak out. We will rally. We will power a movement all across this country. Elon Musk wants power, and we will fight back. So good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you. It's all yours.
All right, let's set it up. Let's hear it for Senator Warren. Wyden. All right, next up we have Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon.
Hey, I just read a comment. Nobody special. You might be on a delay because I feel like I made reference to the folks that have lost their homes in California and how astronomically their home values have increased over the years. Might be on a little bit of a delay from when I'm kind of getting the comments coming in from you. But it is an interesting dynamic because it's not just the immediate people that are in the house, it's generational to some degree. Some of them, their parents or grandparents or the family's been in the home for many, many years, for a very long time. And what do you do at that point, right? An asset that's been passed down over the years. That's a really difficult proposition to help people overcome that kind of a challenge. And the challenge being that they lost their home in the wildfires.
So, on the Finance Committee, I'm the point guy to make the decisions that really matter.
Oh, this is Kermit. Ron White. Oh, Lord. If you didn't think Blumenthal was a dud, this guy, my Lord. This is like Blumenthal, like 5.0. But I want to hear Jasmine Crockett, so let's listen to him for a sec. He's probably going to put us to sleep here, but then we'll look for Jasmine Crockett because she's always got something interesting to say.
Matter for the people who are here and the people of our country. And I'm going to tell you, this is not complicated. It's not hard to design. We've got one message today. Tell Elon Musk to take his hands off your money.
Man, I was worried. I didn't know where he was going with that. Take your hands off. I was like, man, please don't. And then he didn't say it. Who brought this siren to the event?
As you know, it's about choices. And some of these Musk people know what they want. They want to cut Medicaid. They want to cut hunger. They want to give...
I'm sorry, what was that? They want to cut Medicaid. They want to cut hunger. Let's say that again, buddy.
These Musk people know what they want. They want to cut Medicaid. They want to cut hunger. They want to give the money to the people at the top. Not going to happen on our watch, everybody. And I'm looking it out.
That'll make for some good content.
Great crowd, and it seems to me there's.
So I'll share with you guys. I'll make a little bit of fake news. Don't put it in the description. Like, hey, it's, out of context. But that part where he says they want to get rid of hunger, and then we'll pan to not going to happen on our watch, right? Make that a short. I think it'll be great.
There's one message for the billionaires, and that is that political change doesn't start at the top and then trickle down. We're here to say we're going to be organizing from coast to coast. Change is bottoms up, and we're going to protect these funds in the trust. Count on it today. They are not going to be meddled with, and I assure you that's the case. God bless.
All right. You here for more? Yeah. Let's hear it for more. Yeah. How about Representative Emily Randall from Washington? Where are you at? There we go. There we go. Thank you.
I'd like to hear more. Let me put this up on the screen here, the comment for folks. Whoa, where'd it go? Where did your comment go? There we go. MAGA are cheering for Musk and Trump to rob everyone. How dense is that? I don't know. I don't think that Musk intends on doing identity theft and using personal information in those systems. I don't think he needs to resort to identity theft. He's got plenty of money. Oh, hopefully I hit the mute button in time for that sneeze. Anyway, yeah, I think Musk is good on that front. Not going to do any ID theft. But let's see the next comment here. You got to follow up. Billionaires don't care about the right, left, or the middle. They have their own. Sorry, not laughing at you. Trying not to cough. They have their own wicked agenda to create a new world order, one with government and have total control over everything. You know, it's interesting how these narratives flip. That was the conservative narrative about, you know, Klaus Schwab, World Health Organization, World Bank, all those worldly organizations trying to create one government, and now it's kind of like flipped, right? It's funny. Same conspiracy, just different people. I mean, the bottom line to me, this is my my thought process on it. You have Trump, who I don't know the exact numbers. I'm just going to keep the math simple. He's worth $10 billion going into the presidency in 2016. You know, 4 or 6 years later, he's worth, I don't know, $7-8 billion. His net worth has diminished significantly because he was president and because he's had to pay all these fines and go to court and lost business and so forth, right? And he took that head on, and yet he came back for more, knowing that, yeah, I'll probably lose more of my net worth because of this. You've got somebody like that. You've got Elon that spent $45 billion-ish to buy Twitter, and did it, you know, on the principle of free speech. Now, he's probably not executing it perfectly, but you know, just take it at the word, right? You see those two actions, and then you see somebody like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, you go down the list of other senators and congressional, other members of Congress, and they go in of average means as a politician, and yet 5-10 years later, they're millionaires and become tens of millionaires, and in the case of the elite, 100 millionaires. Is that the right term? But who's really acting on the interest of the people versus themselves in that scenario? When you look at those types of behaviors and that type of outcome that's happening, is it the politicians that, you know, were already wealthy and they could stand to lose some of that wealth in order to do what they thought was right, whether you agree with it or not? They were trying to do something they thought was right, or is it the one that took advantage of the system and is reluctantly moving forward with controls on stock trading and so forth to continue to enrich themselves? I mean, that's that happens across the board. It's not one side or the other. Everybody in Congress does that. We need to root that out. But when you look at who has the interest of people in mind, that's kind of how I break things down. That's how it, you know, that's my mental model around it, I should say. All right, let's see what's coming up here. Who's this lady talking now?
I represent a community in Washington State
Oh,
with
Lord.
more than 27,000 federal employees. With nearly 100,000 veterans.
I did not know Schumer was going to be out here.
Our country back, and we will build
All right.
a better future for all of us.
Oh, there he is waving over here. You see him, guys? He's ready to get up there. He knows it's his turn.
Hello, everybody. Are we going to fight the fight? Are we going to win the fight? Are we not going to rest till we win? Let me say first some good news. Every one of the 47 Democratic senators is going to vote against that horrible, dangerous man, Russell Vogt, on Wednesday. And we cannot We cannot allow Elon Musk and a small group of people to secretly, behind closed doors, take away our privacy, take away our dollars, take away everything we have. We are going to fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win. 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 We will win.
I got a mark this time too. Wow, I mean those dance moves. I mean, let's put some other music on that. That was ridiculous. 38-41. My goodness. 38-41. Schumer doing a dance. My goodness. You know, and here I stood like, okay, Harris isn't there anymore. Biden's not there anymore. I have no content. What am I gonna make these little short videos on? But shoot, I mean it's nonstop. Look at these two. Look at these two up front.
We won't rest. We won't rest.
I thought he was about to say we won't win.
We won't rest. We won't.
Actually, I can alter it, and I'll put in there altered content, right, and have him say we won't win. Beautiful. Hey, like and subscribe, guys. I appreciate you bumping me over to the 17,000 mark.
Rest. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. All right, we're gonna. Shut down the Senate! Shut down the Senate! Shut down the Senate! Shut down the Senate! Shut down the.
Who's the MC out here? Lord have mercy. She's just like unstoppable.
Senate! Shut down the Senate! Shut down the Senate!
Please stop, lady.
Hey! Hey!
Oh my lord.
All right, Representative.
Billionaire is repeatedly in the Congressional District.
All right,
Billionaire is repeatedly.
I don't know who Poindexter is here, but I mean that lady was. I mean, it was like she was acting like Little John, throwing out the hays and the yays and all that kind of stuff.
And blatantly breaking the law, including by usurping our authorities, the legislative and appropriations authority expressly reserved to Congress. Now, the Constitution is simple. We appropriate the money and Treasury delivers it, but Elon Musk taking it over threatens all that. Musk has claimed powers that even the president does not hold, including the power to, quote, delete agencies that he doesn't like, agencies that Congress created and funded. Now, who the hell gave Elon Musk this authority?
I think it's been pretty clear all along. You know, Elon has no authority. I mean, he will read the data, analyze it, and give recommendations to the president and others in Congress to execute on. So when they go into committee and they go negotiate funding different things, because Republicans effectively hold, you know, all parts of government, they can make a lot happen, and they will leverage his findings and his analysis as a plan and as a blueprint. Elon's not doing anything, and Trump has been very clear to say, like, if I agree with it, we're going to do it. If I think he's overstepping, then I'm going to put a halt to it. I'm not going to let it go through. So, I mean, again, misconstruing what's really going on. All the influencers have continuously been, yeah, like Elon's a felon now and all that stuff. They've continuously, all day long, been talking about King Elon, President Elon, so forth. It's they're trying to find something that sticks. But what they don't realize is we are what is it, 2 weeks since the election now? And I mean, it's too early to try to throw out names like this. I mean, there's way too much momentum on Trump's side. Their only hope right now is to pray that some action that Trump takes has massively disastrous consequences.
No one. It's not in the Constitution. Until yesterday, Elon Musk had no official role with the administration. Now, all of us up here today, we had to take an oath, just like every senior White House official, like every senior federal official out there, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. You know who never took that oath? Elon Musk. Now, the White House claimed just yesterday Elon Musk is a special governmental employee. Now, and there's no...
All right, Stardust Girl. I like the comment a lot, and I choose to have that money go back into my pocket. I mean, how about that?
No evidence that he was ever appointed to that role, but let's be clear. He is special, very special, but not in that kind of way. Right. And special governmental employees do not have the right to delete agencies, fire federal employees, shut off access to their accounts. But let's step back and ask, why did Elon Musk want to take control of the payment system? That's the $64 trillion question. And we know why, because he made clear he wants to cut $2 trillion from our budget. Now, if you look at our budget, there's not $2 trillion to cut unless you massively cut Social Security and Medicare, and that is what he's after. And now he has the ability to shut off your Social Security, Medicare, any payments he wants with the flip of a switch. Obviously, he has control of our information as well. He has broken the law time and time again. This cannot stand. He must be held accountable. He must be made to pay. We must enforce the law.
Hey, buddy, what's the average IQ?
The average IQ scores around 100. It's set up that way to keep it as a midpoint, with most people scoring between 85 and 115. What's got you thinking about IQ at this hour?
Oh, just checking on something somebody said in the chat here. So, what percentile is 85 at?
A score of 85 is roughly in the 16th percentile.
Oh, that's
that means
low. Jeez.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's 142? What percentile is that?
An IQ of 142 puts you in about the 99.7th percentile. It's pretty much the top tier. What kind of chat are you having where IQ scores are being dropped?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying not to drop mine, but you know how it goes.
Feels like a mental tug of war. Stay strong, Masood.
So I just want to close with this. I did not vote to elect Elmo as a Bond villain as our President of the United States. We have to uphold the Constitution. That's what we're here to do. Now, Republicans have attacked us time and time again because we model the values of diversity and inclusion. Well, that is what America's about. Don't let them tell us we're not American. We are the true Americans here. America is about us. We have to reclaim our country. USA! 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Min. Senator Ed Markey, come join us down here. Thank you.
Oh, Lord. Who's this feller?
Our patriots, our revolutionaries, they fought against...
Hands off our tax
Oh, my Lord of mercy. Okay. Lord of mercy.
What happens when we fight? What happens when we fight? Thank you.
That was his whole speech right there.
Thank you, Representative from Jamie Raskin.
All right,
An
come on, boys.
insurrection is when the president, exact same subject line.
So going by committee,
It may be
Crocker should
physical
be coming up.
asylum.
She sits on.
Mind you, pledge to each other.
Come on.
Where are you at? Buenas noches, America. How are you tonight?
Man, there's too much feedback on that mic. Lord of mercy.
From children by himself.
Us.
Come on.
Now, is Representative Becca Balint up every day and
Did they have her go last?
Individuals in this
Did I miss her?
country.
Who's this jabroni? His first words will be, "We need to stop charging extra for soy in my Starbucks."
Can you hear me?
Unfortunately.
I'm Ezra Levin, co-founder of Indivisible. It's not your money, Musk. It's not your money, Musk. It's our money. Whose money? Whose money? Whose money? Our money. It's our money. Now, I love a good chant, y'all. I love a good chant. Feels good to chant. It's not enough. It's not enough to chant right now. Okay? It is a school night. I'm going to give y'all some homework. Okay? I'm going to talk about one man. He was here earlier. He left a little bit earlier, but I have a message for him. Leader Schumer, you were here. You led some good chants. I like to hear those chants. Do something. Do something. Do something. Do something. Hey, I've heard another chant here a few times tonight. I've heard it a few times.
I'm going to have to skip again. I can't take these chances.
Shut down the Senate.
Oh, my gosh.
Home with you. That is...
Where's Crockett? She's supposed to do something. All right.
We are going to break a...
Okay. I guess not there. I guess not there. All right. Well, Trump was pretty busy today. He also sat down for press interviews with Prime Minister of Israel. This will probably be a little more entertaining than, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that protest. After they ran out of pizza, everybody seems to have left.
And thank you very much. That's a lot of press. Congratulations. You bring them out. You really bring them out. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu back to the White House. It's a wonderful feeling and a wonderful event. We had fantastic talks, and thank you very much with your staff. He's the first foreign head of state to visit during our administration, and Bibi, I want to say it's an honor to have you with us. Over the past 4 years, the U.S. and the Israeli alliance has been tested more than any time in history. But the bonds of friendship and affection between the American and Israeli people have endured for generations, and they are absolutely...
That's pretty funny. He's skipping important parts that go against the agenda. You know what, guys? I wanted to see Jasmine Crockett speak because she always has something outrageous to say. I don't know where she was. She's supposed to be in there somewhere. I'm not going to go back and rewatch the whole thing, but I don't know where she was. She was there at some point.
Absolutely unbreakable. They are unbreakable. I'm confident that under our leadership, the cherished alliance between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever. We had a great relationship. We had great victories together 4 years ago. Not so many victories over the past 4 years, however. In my first term, Prime Minister and I forged a tremendously successful partnership that brought peace and stability to the Middle East like it hadn't seen in decades. Together we defeated ISIS, we ended the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, one of the worst deals ever made, by the way, and imposed the toughest ever sanctions on the Iranian regime. We starved Hamas and Iran's other terrorist proxies, and we starved them like they had never seen before. Resources and support disappeared for them. I recognized Israel's capital, opened the American embassy in Jerusalem, and got it built, by the way. Built it too, just not only designated it, but got it built at a price that nobody's seen for 40 years. We got it built, it's beautiful, all Jerusalem stone. right from nearby, and it's something that's very special, and recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, something that they talked about for 70 years, and they weren't able to get it, and I got it. And with the historic Abraham Accord, something that was really an achievement that was, I think, going to become more and more important, because we achieved the most significant Middle East peace agreements in half a century, but the Abraham Accords in particular, and I really believe that many countries will soon be joining this amazing peace and economic development transaction. It really is a big economic development transaction. I think we're going to have a lot of people signing up very quickly. Unfortunately, for 4 years, nobody signed up. Nobody did anything for 4 years except in the negative. Unfortunately, the weakness and incompetence of those years, those past 4 years, the grave damage around the globe that was done, including in the Middle East, grave damage all over the globe. The horrors of October 7th would never have happened if I were president. The Ukraine and Russia disaster would never have happened if I were president. Over the past 16 months, Israel has endured a sustained, aggressive, and murderous assault on every front, but they fought back bravely. You see that and you know that. What we have witnessed is an all-out attack on the very existence of a Jewish state in the Jewish homeland. The Israelis have stood strong and united in the face of an enemy that has kidnapped, tortured, raped, and slaughtered innocent men, women, children, and even little babies. I want to salute the Israeli people.
Hey, Smiley, I don't know who Smiley is. I don't know anyone in the chat, to be honest. But had to, I put him in timeout. I think I hit the timeout button. I had the timeout button for 1 minute. If Smiley, there was one comment in there that I hit the delete on, talking about Trump and his daughter. I don't know. Let's not go there on that kind of stuff.
For meeting this trial with courage and determination and unflinching resolve. They have been strong. In our meetings today, the Prime Minister and I focused on the future, discussing how we can work together to ensure Hamas is eliminated and ultimately restore peace to a very troubled region. It's been troubled, but what's happened in the last 4 years has not been good. I want to thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for working closely with my transition team, the Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who's here somewhere. Steve? Stand up, Steve, please. What a job you've done. What a good job you've done. Proud of you. Done a fantastic job. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Thank you, Mike, for working so well with us. Thank you. We have, in addition, Marco Rubio, who is on the phone right now, listening to every single word that we say, and he's going to be great. And Pete, congratulations. And Scott, congratulations. I see you're here. And Caroline's been doing a great job. She's really probably talked about more than anybody here. She's done a fantastic job, and thank you very much, Caroline. We're proud of you. But we'll only be satisfied when all of these problems are solved, and we have the team to solve them, and that's going to happen. And it's going to happen, I think, very quickly. I also strongly believe that the Gaza Strip, which has been a symbol of death and destruction for so many decades, and so bad for the people anywhere near it, and especially those who live there, and frankly, who's been really very unlucky. It's been very unlucky. It's been an unlucky place for a long time.
So the interesting thing here that he gets to, this is much longer clip than I thought, talking about development in Gaza, which I've never heard anyone else speak of, actual, not just replacing homes, but economic development and getting hands-on out there and stuff. Interesting concepts. Like, is this maybe a new approach to things that might do something? He'll get to it here in a minute.
Being in its presence just has not been good. And it should not go through a process of rebuilding and occupation by the same people that have really stood there and fought for it and lived there and died there and lived a miserable existence there. Instead, we should go to other countries of interest with humanitarian hearts, and there are many of them that want to do this, and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck. This can be paid for by neighboring countries of great wealth. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 12. It could be numerous sites, or it could...
Smiley, I hope that you're doing all right. It doesn't seem like you're rather well at the moment. Yeah, you could come back another day or whatever, check in and everything. I appreciate you listening in, but I don't know, whatever you got going on, I hope it improves for you. I hope your life is on increase and everything, but just think about your behavior a little bit is all I'll say.
Could be one large site, but the people will be able to live in comfort and peace, and we'll make sure something really spectacular is done. They're going to have peace. They're not going to be shot at and killed and destroyed like this civilization of wonderful people has had to endure. The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected nation again. A lot's happened in the last couple of weeks. We are actually a very respected nation again. I ended the last administration's de facto arms embargo on over $1 billion in military assistance for Israel. And I'm also pleased to announce that this afternoon the United States withdrew from the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council and ended all of the support for the UN Relief and Works Agency, which funneled money to Hamas and which was very disloyal to humanity. Today I also took action to restore a maximum pressure policy on the Iranian regime, and we will once again enforce the most aggressive possible sanctions, drive Iranian oil exports to zero, and diminish the regime's capacity to fund terror throughout the region.
All right, guys, so drive their exports to zero. Let me see. Hey, are you there with me, AI? Because I'm trying to get some numbers here. No, I got to restart my AI. But driving those exports to zero, that is going to have some significant consequence. Because last time I... Hey, what is Iran's... Oh, wait, got to change the tab. Okay, what is Iran's annual or daily oil production?
If we're talking about Iran's oil production, they're usually measured annually. Iran's oil production has varied over the years due to various factors, including international sanctions. Want me to check the latest numbers?
Yeah, check the latest numbers, and I'd prefer it to be in a daily rate.
Iran's daily crude oil production is currently over 3.4 million barrels per day. This reflects a recent increase and shows resilience despite international pressures.
What is the daily production rate for all oil produced around the world?
The current global oil production rate is around 101 million barrels per day.
Okay.
This rate can fluctuate due to various factors like economic conditions, geopolitical events, and natural disasters.
And do we still need about 20 million in the United States?
In the United States, oil consumption hovers around 20 million barrels per day. The demand fluctuates based on economic conditions, energy policies, and fuel efficiency trends. But it's a good estimate for current needs.
All right. So, interestingly, those 3 million barrels going offline, that's 3% of the global market if they really drive it to zero, which they won't. Even if it's 1%, that'll have pretty massive repercussions because everyone's, from creating plastics to, fuel to whatever it might be. If they really do drive that out, is it going to be offset by more production in the United States? I don't know how quickly they can, build up that cycle. So we might see a spike in prices coming soon from this action. There may be more if action is taken against Russia as well. And what would that do setting us up? Do we want to accelerate LNG exports? But I don't think we have the capacity to process that at the moment. A lot of red tape recently here around that. But anyway, interesting though. I didn't realize that. I know they said sanctions. I should have put 2 and 2 together earlier today, but I didn't.
And throughout the world, we had no threat when I left office. Iran was not able to sell oil. Nobody was buying oil because I said, don't buy it. If you buy it, you're not doing any business with the United States. And Hamas was not being funded. Hezbollah was not being funded. Nobody was being funded. There would never have been an October 7th. 2 weeks ago, I once again designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. They're trying to destroy world shipping lanes, and that's not going to happen. And over the weekend, I ordered airstrikes against senior ISIS leaders hiding in the caves of Somalia and took them out. Here in America, we've begun the process of deporting foreign terrorists, jihadists, and Hamas sympathizers from our soil, just as we have people that are extremely evil, and we're sending them out of our country. They came from jails. They came from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they were dumped into our country. They're gang members. We're getting them out at numbers that nobody can actually believe. And every single country is taking those people back. They said they would never take them back, and they're all taking them back, and they're taking them back very gladly. And I recently signed an executive order combating the vile wave of anti-Semitism that we've seen in the aftermath of the October 7th attacks. Together, America and Israel will renew the optimism that shined so brightly just 4 years ago. It was really a bright, beautiful light. We will restore calm and stability to the region and expand prosperity, opportunity, and hope to our nations and for all people of the Middle East, including the Arab and Muslim nations. Very important. We want the Arab and Muslim nations to have peace and have tranquility and have great lives. I'd like to now invite Prime Minister Netanyahu to say a few words, and we'll take some questions afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm honored that you invited me to be the first foreign leader to visit the White House in your second term. This is a testament to your friendship and support for the Jewish state and the Jewish people. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
That's a pretty bold statement. That is a big statement, actually.
And that's why the people of Israel have such enormous respect for you. In your first term, you recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. You moved the American embassy there. You recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You withdrew from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. I remember we spoke about it. You said, this is the worst deal I've ever seen. I'm elected, I'm walking out of it. That's exactly what you did. And I think it speaks loudly for just common sense, just looking at things and seeing them as they are. And of course, you also brokered the groundbreaking Abraham Accords in which Israel made peace with 4 Arab states. We did this in 4 months. Nothing happened for a quarter of a century, but in 4 months. we were able, working together under your leadership, to have 4 historic peace accords. And now in the first days of your second term, you picked up right where you left off. Your leadership helped bring our hostages home, among them American citizens. You freed up munitions that have been withheld from Israel. They had been withheld from Israel in the midst of a 7-front war for our existence. And you just freed it. You ended unjust sanctions against law-abiding Israeli citizens. You boldly confronted the scourge of anti-Semitism. You stopped funding, as you just said, international organizations like UNRWA that support and fund terrorists. And today, you renewed the maximum pressure campaign against Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, all this in just 2 weeks. Can we imagine where we'll be in 4 years? I can. I know you can, Mr. President. For our part, we in Israel have been pretty busy too. Since the horrendous October 7th attack, we've been fighting our common enemies and changing the face of the Middle East. On that infamous day, Hamas monsters savagely murdered 1,200 innocent people, including more than 40 Americans. They beheaded men, they raped women, they burnt babies alive, and they took 251 people hostage to the dungeons of Gaza. And after this worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust, Iran and its henchmen in the Middle East were absolutely ecstatic. Haniya praised the massacre. Sinwar said that Israel was finished. Nasrallah boasted that Israel was, here's what he said, as feeble as a spider's web. Well, Mr. President, Haniya is gone. Sinwar is gone. Nasrallah is gone. We've devastated Hamas. We decimated Hezbollah. We destroyed Assad's remaining armaments. And we crippled Iran's air defenses. And in doing this, we've defeated some of America's worst enemies. We took out terrorists who were wanted for decades for shedding rivers of American blood, including the blood of 241 Marines murdered in Beirut. We accomplished all this with the indomitable spirit of our people and the boundless courage of our soldiers. The Bible says that the people of Israel shall rise like lions, and boy did we rise. Today, the roar of the Lion of Judah is heard loudly throughout the Middle East. Israel has never been stronger, and the Iran terror axis has never been weaker. But as we discussed, Mr. President, to secure our future and bring peace to our region, we have to finish the job. In Gaza, Israel has 3 goals: destroy Hamas's military and governing capabilities, secure the release of all of our hostages, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. I believe, Mr. President, that your willingness to puncture conventional thinking that has failed time and time and time again, your willingness to think outside the box with fresh ideas will help us achieve all these goals. And I've seen you do this many times. You cut to the chase. You see things others refuse to see. You say things others refuse to say. And after the jaws drop, people scratch their heads and they say, you know, he's right. And this is the kind of thinking that enabled us to bring the Abraham Accords.
Interesting comment, Richard. Glad we have Trump to tank the stock market since Biden wouldn't comply. Such a bang-up job. The paper tiger we did with tariffs. So rare to see criminals on the stage at the same time. We were on a downward track for a very long time now. The stock market has been elevated with all of the expansion of the money supply that's happened with the printing press. We're not in a good state overall. Individual data points are not working. Democrats, a lot of politicians actually, not just Democrats, point to GDP, point to the stock market as a sign of health of the economy and how it's helping people, and that's actually not. It's probably furthest from the truth, right? People not being able to make rent, grocery prices, cutting meals out altogether. There's a lot of surveys that show those types of behaviors happening, and that's probably not ideal. Standards of living are diminishing considerably. So this has been an ongoing struggle for at least 2.5 years, if not 3 years. And it's going to come to a head. And so at this point, is the trajectory inevitable that we will have to hit some kind of a mark like that? I don't know. I might have to take a look at some charts just to see what's going on here.
This is the kind of thinking that will reshape the Middle East and bring peace. We also see eye to eye on Iran. That's the same Iran that tried to kill us both. They tried to kill you, Mr. President. They tried through their proxies to kill me. We're both committed to rolling back Iran's aggression in the region and ensuring that Iran never develops a nuclear weapon. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Israel will end the war by winning the war. Israel's victory will be America's victory. We will not only win the war, working together, we will win the peace. With your leadership, Mr. President, and our partnership, I believe that we will forge a brilliant future for our region and bring our great alliance to even greater heights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, baby. Very nice. Thank you. And J.D. Vance, everybody. J.D., please, Vice President, stand up. He's been doing a good job. He's been working very hard on all things, but this in particular. We'll take some questions, please. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Can a normalization deal with Saudi Arabia be achieved without the acknowledgement of a Palestinian state? That question for you too, Mr. Prime Minister. And Mr. President, given what you've said about Gaza, did the U.S. send troops to help secure the security vacuum?
So Saudi Arabia is going to be very helpful, and they have been very helpful. They want peace in the Middle East. It's very simple. We know their leader and their leaders very well. They're wonderful people, and they want peace in the Middle East. As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that peace, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of. But everybody feels that continuing the same process that's gone on forever.
Man, what the heck? We had Richard saying something nice, and then all of a sudden, Magic City Crypto Kitty. Crypto, hey? How's that Bitcoin looking lately? Had to come in and spoil it.
Ever, over and over again, and then it starts, and then the killing starts, and all of the other problems start, and you end up in the same place, and we don't want to see that happen. So by the United States, with its stability and strength, owning it, especially the strength that we're developing and developed over the last fairly short period of time, I would say really since the election, I think we'll be a keeper of something that is very, very strong, very powerful, and very, very good for the area, not just for Israel, for the entire Middle East. Very important. And we'll again, have thousands of jobs, and there'll be jobs for everyone, not for a specific group of people, but for everybody. Okay, please.
I think peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia is not only feasible, I think it's going to happen. I think if we had another half a year in your first term, it would have already happened.
True. Many, many more, I agree, many more nations.
I think you can't prejudge and pre-guess how we'll achieve it, but I'm committed to achieving it. And I know the President is committed to achieving it, and I think the Saudi leadership is interested to achieve it. So we'll give it a good shot, and I think we'll succeed.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Did you hear from Prime Minister Netanyahu
guarantees that ceasefire will hold, including phase 2? And Prime Minister Netanyahu, why are you refusing to set up a national commission to investigate failures of the process?
Well, I can't tell you whether or not the ceasefire will hold. We've done, I think, a very masterful job. And we weren't helped very much by the Biden administration, I can tell you that. But we've gotten quite a few hostages out. We're going to get more out. But we're dealing with very complex people. And we are going to see whether or not it holds. We certainly want to have more come out. They've come out damaged in many ways, very damaged people. But they're going to get better, and they're going to be strong, and they're going to have a good life. And we hope to get as many as possible out. Whether or not it holds, I don't know. We hope it holds. We hope it holds.
I think that at the appropriate time, which I think will enable us to really investigate what happens, what were the causes of the failures, by an independent commission that will be accepted by the majority of the people. We don't want it accepted by one half of the people and not the other. I think we should have it, and we should find out exactly what happened. I'm insisting on it. And believe me, it'll surprise a lot of people when it happens.
Kelly, go ahead.
You are outlining something that is really quite striking tonight. You are talking about... Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister. You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble and demolished buildings falling all over. It's just a terrible sight. I've studied it. I've studied this very closely over a lot of months, and I've seen it from every different angle. And it's a very, very dangerous place to be, and it's only going to get worse. And I think this is an idea that's gotten tremendous, and I'm talking about from the highest level of leadership, gotten tremendous praise. And if the United States can help to bring stability and peace in the Middle East, we'll do that. Bibi?
I mentioned again tonight our three goals. And the third goal is to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again. President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism, so many attacks against us, so many trials and so many tribulations. He has a different idea. And I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think it's something that could change history. And it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead. Right.
A question for you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So before rebuilding Gaza again, obviously it'll take out all the hostages, and one of them is John Alexander, an American soldier who is alive. How will you be assured that you will take out all the hostages and then rebuild?
We're working very hard to get all the hostages. The word is all, and we are working very hard. So far, it's been moving along fairly rapidly, pretty much on schedule. I'd love to have them all out at one time, but we're taking them out, and tomorrow more are being released, and over the days more, and then we'll go into a phase 2. But we'd like to get all of the hostages, and if we don't, it will just make us somewhat more violent. I will tell you that, because they would have broken their word. Mr. Witkoff and his...
I've never would have thought he would have said something in that way. It would make us somewhat more violent. That's crazy. But I mean, shoot, like, let's get things done, right?
His entire group have been working 24 hours around the clock, and they want them out, and promises have been made to them, and we'll see whether or not those promises will be kept. But we want all the hostages, that's right.
How much time do you think it will take?
Do you support, Mr. President, do you support Israeli sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, areas which many believe is the biblical homeland of the Jewish people?
Well, we're discussing that with many of your representatives. You're represented very well, and people do like the idea, but we haven't taken a position on it yet. But we will be we'll be making an announcement probably on that very specific topic over the next 4 weeks. Go ahead, please. Please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. You just said that you think all the Palestinians should be relocated to other countries. Does that mean that you do not support a two-state solution?
It doesn't mean anything about a two-state or one state or any other state. It means that we want to have, we want to give people a chance at life. They have never had a chance at life because the Gaza Strip has been a hellhole for people living there. It's been horrible. Hamas has made it so bad, so dangerous, so unfair to people. And by doing what I'm recommending that we do, it's a very strong recommendation, but it is a strong recommendation. By doing that, we think we're going to bring perhaps great peace to long beyond this area. And I have to stress, this is not for Israel. This is for everybody in the Middle East, Arabs, Muslims. This is for everybody. This would be where they can partake in terms of jobs and living and all of the other benefits. And I think it's very important. It just doesn't work the other way. You know, you can't keep trying. They just has been going along for so many decades you can't even count. You just can't keep doing. You have to learn from history. You can't keep doing the same mistake over and over again. Gaza is a hellhole right now. It was before the bombing started, frankly. And we're going to give people a chance to live in a beautiful community that's safe and secure. And I think you're going to see a tremendous outflowing of support. I can tell you, I spoke to other leaders of countries in the Middle East, and they love the idea. They say it would really bring stability, and what we need is stability. Yes, sir, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. Are you still committed to imposing sanctions on the ICC despite the move being stalled in the Senate? And please, a question for the Prime Minister as well. The President has been very clear about his desire to achieve a deal with Saudi Arabia. How do you settle this if Israel is required to renew the war against Hamas in the future?
Go ahead, baby.
I think everybody understands that just as the President fought and defeated Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that we can't leave Hamas there because Hamas will continue the battle to destroy Israel. They'll do, you know, when in this temporary ceasefire, one of their leaders comes out, you know what he says? We're going to do October 7th again, except we'll do it bigger. So obviously, you can't talk about peace neither with Hamas or in the Middle East if this, you know, toxic, murderous organization is left standing. Any more that you could make peace in Europe after World War II if the Nazi regime was left standing and the Nazi army was left standing. You want a different future? You got to knock out the people who want to destroy you and destroy peace. That's what we're going to do. I think that will also usher in, actually, the peace with Saudi Arabia and with others, and I think there will be others too.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
My name is Ms. Gazin Karimi, as a high expectation from you. Do you have any plan to change Afghanistan situation? Are you able to recognize Taliban? Because I'm an Afghan journalist, Afghan suffered woman. Any comment about Afghanistan? What's your future plan for Afghan people, especially Afghan?
I have a little hard time understanding you. Where are you from? Oh. Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying. But I just say this, good luck. Live in peace. Go ahead, please. That's okay, yeah, please.
Prime Minister, you said earlier today that it was tough for you to implement these sanctions on Iran, but you did indicate that you were willing to negotiate with them. What would that look like, and are you in conversations with them? And the same for the Prime Minister, sir.
I hated doing it. I want Iran to be peaceful and successful. I hated doing it. I did it once before, and we brought them down to a level where they were unable to give any money. They had to survive themselves, and they had no money. They were essentially broke, and they had no money for, as I said, Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for any form of terror. The 28, if you call it, the 28 sites of terror, they had no money for any of it. They had to do their own and focus on their own well-being. And I hated to do it then, and I hate to do it just as much now. And I say this, and I say this to Iran, who's listening very intently. I would love to be able to make a great deal, a deal where you can get on with your lives and you'll do wonderfully. You'll do wonderfully. Incredible people, industrious, beautiful, just an unbelievable group of people in Iran. And I know them well, have many friends from Iran and many friends that are Americans from Iran, and they're very proud of Iran. But I hated to do it, just so you understand. And I hope we're going to be able to do something so that it doesn't end up in a very catastrophic situation. I don't want to see that happen. I really want to see peace, and I hope that we're able to do that. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. I'm not putting restrictions. They cannot have one thing. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if I think that they will have a nuclear weapon, despite what I just said, I think that's going to be very unfortunate for them. If, on the other hand, they can convince us that they won't, and I hope they can. It's very easy to do. It's actually very easy to do. I think they're going to have an unbelievable future. Yeah, please, sir, go ahead.
You just laid out your plan for Gaza.
Yes.
Can you lay out your plan for Ukraine and also...
For Ukraine?
For Ukraine, yes. You consider yourself a strong leader. You blamed your predecessor for letting Russia to take over Ukraine. Will you demand from Putin to get out of Ukraine, from sovereign territory of Ukraine?
So we're dealing right now on the subject. I don't want to spend a lot of time because we're here for another reason, but we are having very good talks, very constructive talks on Ukraine, and we are talking to the Russians. We're talking to the Ukrainian leadership. It would have never happened. That would have never happened. It should have never happened. I get reports every week, the number of soldiers, mostly soldiers now. The cities have been largely demolished. You talk about a very sad sight to see. We talk Gaza. Well, many of these cities look as bad as Gaza and worse, what's happened to them. And I want to see that end. And I want to see it end for one simple reason, the life of young people being absolutely obliterated on both sides. You probably have 700,000 Ukrainian soldiers dead, 800,000, maybe more Russian soldiers dead. It's very flat land, and the only thing that's going to stop a bullet is a human body. In this case, usually soldiers. And the numbers are staggering when you hear the real numbers in Ukraine, what the numbers are. And this doesn't include the cities that have been demolished and all of the people that were killed. So I want to see it stopped. We're having very good talks, and I think we're going to get it. I think something will be hopefully dramatically, it will rise above everything. You can't let this continue. This is an absolute slaughter that's taking place on the beautiful farmlands of Ukraine, and we have to stop it. We can't let this continue. It is a human tragedy, and we're going to try very hard to stop it. Yeah, please, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Okay. Mr. President, what's your view about Palestinian leader Abbas' role in all the regional changes you want to do? And the question for the Prime Minister, what's your view on President Trump wanting to reach a deal with Iran and not a much more active military stance towards it?
Go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
I think the president just said something that I think is the pivot of everything that we're talking about. He said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And we fully agree with that. If this goal can be achieved by a maximum pressure campaign, so be it. But I think the most important thing is to focus on the goal, which the president just did, and I fully agree with him.
Well, I said it, and he said it very well. It's a campaign of pressure to see if we can get something done. He doesn't want to do what some people think will automatically happen because they're very difficult people to deal with, as you know. But if we could solve this problem without warfare, without all of the things that you've been witnessing over the last number of years, it would be, I think it would be a tremendous thing. Go ahead, please.
Do you have any plans to visit Israel soon?
To visit where?
Israel and Gaza.
Oh, well, I love Israel. I will visit there, and I'll visit Gaza, and I'll visit Saudi Arabia, and I'll visit other places all over the Middle East. The Middle East is an incredible place, so vibrant, so it's just one of the really beautiful places, and with great people. And I think a lot of bad leadership has taken place in the Middle East that's allowed this to happen. It's just terrible. And that includes on the American side, by the way. We should have never gone in there a long time ago, spent trillions of dollars and created so much death. So that includes Americans. But yeah, I'll be visiting a lot of different places in the Middle East. I've been invited everywhere, but I will be visiting some, yeah. Okay. Let's go. Caitlin, go ahead. Caitlin.
Thank you so much, President Trump.
Caitlin, go ahead.
On what you were saying there.
Say it. Go ahead, please.
Just to follow up on what you were saying about the Gazans.
Wow. So he always calls on her now. Is she like the new with Jim Acosta for CNN or something? I mean, she's got her own show. Acosta didn't at that point in time. But well, I don't know. She's had quite a few questions over the past couple of weeks here. I'm going to rewind it again just to see if we hear what she's saying.
Let's go. Caitlin, go ahead. Caitlin.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Just
Caitlin,
to follow
go
up
ahead.
on what you were saying there.
Say it. Go ahead, please.
Just to follow up on what you were saying about the Gazans leaving Gaza, going to other countries. One, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision the world, people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History has, you just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace in a much better situation because they're living in hell. And those people will now be able to live in peace. We'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people. Palestinians mostly we're talking about. And I have a feeling that despite them saying no, I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president, but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done. And people can live in harmony and in peace. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
There's applause. Interesting. Interesting there. Clearly he wants to say that he will give land of Palestine to Israel. So what Muhammad Khan is saying. I'm not sure. I don't know what it. I don't know what's being said there. I don't know what the plan is exactly. It's like a number of disconnected actions, but it sounds like there's something formulating. It'd be interesting to hear what it is in the end once it does kind of conclude. On the side, I was just looking at some charts from Bitcoin, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing here, guys. Not financial advice, because that's not what I do. But if you guys had been watching me for a while, I've been telling you for quite some time, like, it's not looking too hot right now. I still hold to that. I know it's came back up quite a bit from hitting that low of 91, but I mean, if it breaks, I've got it around 88. If it breaks 88 and falls below that for a decent duration, next stop is about 70,000 to me. But anyway, again, with the poll question out there, are we going to hit an economic downturn? 58%, pretty large number of folks, although not too many voting right now. I think we're getting into the wee hours of the evening, but large number of folks saying that we are going to hit that. And I mean, keep in mind, again, the individual stats that are out there are not looking good in the economy as a whole. Let's look at the Dow. What does the Dow look like real quick? You know what? I'll just share my chart with you guys. How about that? It's not that interesting, but, well, I find it interesting. Whoa, that's not looking too hot. Let's see. Open list. This oil one open. Indices. Look at the Dow. Okay. Gosh, you can't really see. Let me see if I can resize this a little bit. Make it fit on the screen more. Okay. So this is on a daily chart for the Dow. Let me get rid of the volume so that we get some of the noise out of here. Okay, let's get rid of this indicator up here. Oh, this is S&P. Why did I think it was Dow? Anyway, let's see what it's been doing here. Capped out there. Yeah, you can see the money flow is not looking good. Momentum is not looking good. Here's what's not so hot, right? You have this momentum here. It's going down. Bigger uptick. December came down, and as we came back up here, it's clearly going to take another downturn, right? Green has gone red completely at this point. With the money flow, momentum is slowing down. Less momentum than what we had calculated in December, but when you look at it from a price standpoint, price has gone up from December till now. So we have some pretty negative divergence happening there. Price going up, yet momentum's going down. We may see a more violent reaction to the downside. So I don't know. We'll see how earnings look for folks, but it's going to be a factor in terms of interest rates. Is the Fed going to have to cut? And if they cut, is that going to exacerbate inflation? And then you'll be in a real situation at that point. You know, people losing jobs, job market not looking too hot, inflation getting back up, the Federal Reserve not feeling like they can cut interest rates or stimulate the economy like they normally would. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, so it's an interesting scenario that's developing here. But all right, so that's what I had. Trump's been up to a lot today. So I mean, we saw him signing executive orders talking about them taking questions early on. We saw his appointees getting nominated, the Senate Republicans. And again, go to politicalcow.com. All the stream notes and video links are in there. Senate Republicans came in and they reaffirmed a commitment to Trump's plan and executing on it. Senate Democrats tried to push a talking point, all of them in many different cases, the president Elon, and how he's doing something illegal now, having access to Treasury systems, as though he's going to commit identity theft here or something crazy. And that same talking point has been spread out by all the social media influencers that are extremely liberal. It's like they all get their paycheck from the same place. I don't get a paycheck from the Republican Party. So anyway, I thought we would have a slowing down in terms of politics, but it looks like they're really kind of turning things up to another level at this point. How these confirmations continue to flow from here. So Kennedy got confirmed, Pam Bondi's officially confirmed. Things are going to start rolling here in many capacities. Education will be very interesting if they are going to, in fact, dissolve that and just send it back to states in the form of direct aid. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm having a bit of a coughing attack here. All right, I'm going to call it quits here, guys. We'll turn on the theme music. Appreciate the 29,000 or so that stopped by. Like and subscribe on the way out. I think we got about 70 new subs, so appreciate that. Broke the 17,000 mark. So, all right, guys. I hope that you have a good evening, and if my browser can get unfrozen, maybe I will hit the button to disconnect.
Darkness falls, truth emerges. Political cow unveils the lies. Behind the screen, wisdom surges, lighting up hate with her eyes. In the shadows, secrets lurk. She exposes, she ignites. With every post she does the work, unmasking darkness, revealing lights. Political cow, the beacon bright, unveiling truth, banishing night. With every post she does the work, unmasking darkness, revealing lights. Oh, what? Political cow, the beacon bright, unveiling truth, banishing night. Her voice cuts through, stark and raw, shattering deception. Politics gather, truth ascends, the world watches, mesmerized. Political cows, battle never ends. In her light, dark leads to light. False prophets